Hello everyone. In this video we will study megasporogenesis, and in the previous video we have already completed microsporogenesis. These both are included in the gametogenesis wherein gametes will be formed. So megasporogenesis refers to the formation of megaspore. Now one cell will be differentiated as megaspore mother cell, abbreviated as MMC, in the bud stage. Now the MMC number will be depending upon how many ovules has to be formed. So megaspore mother cell, it will act as a meiocyte. Meiocyte will have double the number of chromosomes as that of the gamete. That's why here I have written diploid and 2n. You already know that meiocyte will be the one cell that will undergo meiosis. After the meiosis, we get the gametes. So here the gametes are named as megaspores. Of course, they will be haploid in comparison to the meiocyte. Along with this, you also must know that micropyle end is a 1 in the plant, which is there on the upper side. The megaspores on the lower side, there is an end which is known as the chalazial end, right? So there are two ends, micropyle at the top and at the bottom chalaza. Now here there is a difference in microsporogenesis and megasporogenesis. However, both are forming 4 gametes. 4 pollen grains were formed from one microspore mother cell. Here also one megaspore mother cell is forming 4 megaspores. The difference is in the microsporogenesis, all the 4 microspores or pollen grains, they were functional. But here you can see the one which I have colored red, they are all the one that will become dysfunctional. Or we can also say that they will degenerate. Means they will die, they will not grow further. So how many megaspores are functional? Only 1. And which one? The one towards the chalazial end. So this is very important, that megaspores out of 4, only 1 will be functional. So if one meiosis is happening in the megaspore mother cell, how many functional megaspores will be formed? 1. This is an important logic which will be used further in solving the numericals of this chapter, which I will be telling you at the end of this chapter. Now before we start further, let's understand some more details about gynoecium. Gynoecium is the 4th and the innermost whorl of a flower. This is very important because this is the female reproductive part. Now if I want to define gynoecium, I may define it like it is the collection of carpels or pistil. Now here we will see the structure of one of the carpel. Now whenever you want to see one carpel is divided into these parts. The above part is known as the stigma. Just at the bottom of it is known as style. The bottommost part is known as the ovary, and inside the ovary you can see ovules are there. So this is the structure of one carpel. In one carpel, stigma will be there at top, then a filament style, basal solen structure ovary, and inside the ovary ovule will be there. Now if a flower contains only one carpel, then the flower will be known as monocarpellary. Mono means single, right? So monocarpellary means only single carpel will be there, and polycarpellary means, poly means many. So when many carpels will be there, we will use the term polycarpellary. Another term which is used quite frequently in the case of polycarpillary condition, this is apocarpus and syncarpus. So if many carpels are present, two conditions will be possible. One is apocarpus and another is syncarpus. So if the carpels are free, means each carpel will be there having stigma at top, then style and then ovary. That means multi-ovulary condition will be there. Many ovaries will be there, right? So apocarpus condition is the one wherein many free carpels will be found. But if all the carpels are going to get fused, then we will say that syncarpus condition is there, right? So in case of apocarpus, the carpels will be free. Each one will have its own ovary. In syncarpus condition, because the carpels are fused together, so there will be only one ovary with many ovules in it. Now let's come back to our megaspore. Here we have seen that only one megaspore was formed. And this megaspore, it will be haploid in nature because it is formed as a result of meiosis. Now we need to clear with certain more terms. So before that, let's understand this megaspore will undergo consecutively 3 mitotic divisions. So mitosis 1 when happen, it will lead to the formation of how many nuclei? 2. Now mitosis 2 will happen and it will lead to the formation of 4 nuclei, because there is simple logic with mitosis that whenever it happens, it doubles the number of nuclei. So one mitosis will lead to the formation of 2 nuclei. 2 nuclei, if they will undergo mitosis, it will lead to the formation of 4 nuclei. So third mitosis is happening here. This one is second and of course this one is first. So when third mitosis will happen, because each nuclei will form 2 nuclei further, then from 4, how many nuclei will form? Oh yes, very right, 8 nuclei will be formed in the end. Now this, when such divisions happen, this was our megaspore. When it undergoes consecutively 3 times mitosis, then we get the end product as embryo sac. This embryo sac is also known as female gametophyte. Now we will see how these nuclei they will be arranged. So this is the embryo sac, and very important is these 8 nuclei will arrange in the manner I am drawing them right now, so that you can also draw the diagram. This is our 2 nuclei in common wall. These are the 3 cells, and these cells, they are also 3 in number, and each will be there with the nucleus. So they will arrange in 3, 2 and 3 fashion. So 3 plus 2 plus 3, that means we have arranged our 8 nuclei. This is very, very important. Now when this female gametophyte, it develops wall around it, then it will be known as an ovule. You can see that I am drawing the cells. This outer wall will be known as outer integument. Just inner to it will be inner integument. These integuments are actually the walls. And just here on the outer side of the embryo sac, this part which is green in color, this will be named as nucellus, and of course the central position will be the embryo sac. And this portion here, it will be known as funicle. This region will be known as hilum. Now another important thing to notice here is, now the micropylar end is located at the bottom, which was earlier located at the top, and the chalazal end is at top. That means inversion has occurred. Inversion means upside has become downside, downside has become upside. So micropylar end was there at the top, now it has become downward, and chalazal end, which was downward, it has become upward. So this is known as inverted ovule. Inverted ovule are also known as anatropous ovule, and this is very important, that anatropous ovule is noticed in 80% of the angiospermic plants. So the plants that flower, they have anatropous ovule in them. So you have seen how megaspore formed, how embryo sac formed, and how an ovule was formed. This ovule is also known as megasporangium. This is a difficult concept for you, so I must suggest you to go through the video again, take the notebook and start doing the drawing. Along with that, see the video very attentively. So once embryo sac is formed, then it develops layers around it. These layers are known as integument. When these walls layers are developed, then it is known as ovule. Ovules are generally inverted, in which micropylar end is present at the base and chalazal end is present at the top.